If you are a student, a working professional, an older adult, or anyone who needs to learn something, then stop right here at this video. In today's video, I will share 3 ways for you to reach a level where whatever you learn, you will master it. Okay, now, let's get to the first method that will help you excel at anything you study, even if it is not your area of expertise. Of course, I am not talking about reaching the level of a superstar or winning a Nobel Prize. I simply mean achieving a level of proficiency where you can apply what you have learned to your life. To me, that is already a great accomplishment. So how do you achieve that? You need to remember a simple formula: difficult, proficient, easy. This formula will help you learn more effectively and also correct a common mistake that people of all ages, from adults to students, often make. Many of us expect that studying hard will turn something difficult into something easy. For example, when trying to solve a tough math problem, you hope that after persistent learning, these types of problems will gradually become easier. But the truth is, as soon as you start working on it, you immediately realize that you are struggling right from the beginning. For example, when learning to play tennis, even holding the racket correctly is already challenging. Or take running, a sport that seems more familiar and accessible. Even breathing correctly while running can be a challenge. Therefore, if you keep expecting that studying and practicing will turn something difficult into something easy, you will repeatedly be disappointed and may even give up. So what can we do about this? Remember my formula: difficult, proficient, easy. When learning something new, do not expect it to be easy or that you will be good at it right away. The first goal is to get familiar with it. Once you are familiar and proficient, ease will come naturally. The key point is, do not get discouraged when you face initial difficulties. Your immediate goal is not to be excellent, but to get accustomed to learning and to basic skills. For example, in writing, if you expect your work to be outstanding right away, you will fail. Do not expect to be good immediately. The initial goal is to get used to writing. Write a lot and practice regularly. Once you become familiar with writing, producing good pieces will come naturally. When you reach that stage, you can apply techniques learned from books or others to improve your writing, and it will become better. The same applies to learning yoga or going to the gym. If you expect to be great after just a few days, you will feel discouraged and may quit. Honestly, most of us cannot go from being bad to excellent overnight. Everyone must go through a phase of getting familiar before they become proficient and find things easier. If you feel slow, study more, practice more, and let go of your pride. Tell your teacher or instructor that you need more time to learn so you can dedicate more time to improving. And once you become familiar with everything, you will excel. Thus, let your learning process go through the stages of familiarity, proficiency, and then mastery. When you achieve this, you will learn faster and easily reach your goals. Okay, that is the first method. Remember the formula: difficult, proficient, easy. Now, I will continue sharing the second thing you need to remember if you want to learn effectively in the long run and ensure that you can apply what you have learned in real life. The second point I want to emphasize is a major misunderstanding that many people fall into. They believe that the process of mastering any skill is always exciting, passionate, and emotional. These people think that if they don't feel thrilled every day or don't experience excitement while learning, it means they lack the natural ability to succeed. In reality, this is completely false. The image of a truly skilled learner may be inspiring and captivating, but the journey to reaching that peak is not easy, and at times it can be incredibly boring. Do you know why? Because one of the essential factors in mastering a skill or field is repetition. And as you know, repetition often brings boredom. A typical example is learning a foreign language. To master a language, you must repeatedly review vocabulary, redo grammar exercises, and go over exam papers. Even though the exams may differ, the actions you take remain the same: repetition. Or when learning to play a musical instrument, you must repeat the same movements, the same notes, and even the same songs multiple times. At first, you may enjoy a song, but after playing it several times, you start feeling bored because of the repetition. And this is the moment when boredom sets in. You immediately doubt yourself and think you are not suited for this subject. This is precisely the trap that many people fall into. The trap called not suitable. You start believing that the field is too boring, you feel exhausted, and you wonder if you are truly meant for it. But in reality, no matter what you learn, you will always encounter repetition. If you give up just because of boredom, you will never make progress in any field. Furthermore, when you feel frustrated with what you're doing, you start thinking about switching to another field, another job that you believe will be more interesting. But then you will face repetition in that new job as well, and eventually you will get bored again. So you abandon that new pursuit and look for another one. You keep jumping into something new, then quitting, then moving on to something else, and in the end, you never truly learn anything. This is exactly the trap I want you to recognize. You will never improve if you keep giving up on things just because they become boring. To overcome boredom and repetition, you need to accept them as an indispensable part of the learning process. And once you get past that boredom, you will notice changes in yourself. For example, a musician can feel each note, immerse themselves in the melody without having to think too much about techniques or key presses. This only happens when they have mastered the movements and no longer need to think about them. Or when driving, once you become proficient, you no longer need to focus on each action like pressing the accelerator or the brake. Instead, you can drive comfortably, listen to music, or even sing along without worrying too much about the mechanics. That is when you have overcome the initial difficulties and become skilled at the task. At this stage, the only thing you feel is relaxation and familiarity. So always remember that the road to success is rarely exciting and full of inspiration. Sometimes it will be boring, and you will have to overcome that feeling to achieve mastery. If you take a few days off to regain inspiration, that is fine. But if you give up just because everything becomes monotonous, you will fall into the biggest trap of your life. Finally, this is the third method to help you master any skill or field. The reason I want to share this method is that it stems from a mistake I realized through personal experience. After discovering this mistake, I want you to change your perspective so you can find a simpler, yet more effective solution to learning. First, I will share a common mistake that many people make. In the learning process, some individuals focus too much on specialized knowledge while neglecting soft and fundamental skills. They are eager to reach the peak, to acquire deep knowledge, but they tend to disregard simple steps and foundational basics. This is a contradiction and a serious mistake. Such people are prone to feeling insecure, yet at the same time they exhibit arrogance because they fail to realize that success requires overcoming fundamental steps first. This paradox prevents them from progressing far because they do not understand where they currently stand. They want to rush to their goal without acknowledging the importance of basics. To illustrate this point, I will give you a specific example. A language professor at my university once shared that his goal was to help absolute beginners learn a foreign language easily and effectively. He wanted them to build a strong foundation so they could continue learning on their own later, rather than teaching them difficult lessons to make them proficient immediately. However, some other professors disagreed with this approach. They believed it was too simple, so simple that even a 3-year-old child could understand. To them, this was not real teaching. They argued that it was lowering the standard for students and that higher-level knowledge should be taught instead. Regarding this issue, I personally believe that the most unfortunate learners are those who have to study under teachers who are too intelligent, yet lack an understanding of pedagogy. These individuals, being highly intelligent and quick-witted, assume that their students can grasp concepts as quickly as they do, and thus they often skip the essential fundamental steps when teaching. They fail to understand that some students need time to absorb knowledge because not everyone can comprehend things instantly. This creates pressure on students, making them feel left behind and potentially leading to insecurity and dropout. For me, the biggest challenge in learning is encountering teachers who are too knowledgeable but lack the subtlety and guidance. They focus solely on specialized knowledge without paying attention to developing soft skills. They forget that, besides imparting expertise, a teacher must also know how to help students overcome boredom, pressure, and fatigue during the learning process. The reason many people fail to improve in their studies is that they only focus on deep knowledge while ignoring other factors such as soft skills, learning attitudes, and the ability to overcome difficulties. For instance, if you are learning to swim, I can provide you with the best swimming manuals. But if you lack soft skills like patience, concentration, motivation, and the ability to manage fear, you will not be able to learn effectively no matter how good the book is. Learning to swim is not just about reading a guide and memorizing each movement. It also involves facing challenges, such as the frustration of learning or the fear of water. If you cannot overcome these emotions, you will not succeed. Moreover, mastering soft skills helps you navigate difficulties in learning and maintain enthusiasm despite challenges and monotony. My advice is that when you start learning a subject, do not rush into deep knowledge immediately. Instead, start with simple, easy-to-understand concepts and get familiar with them. Try basic lessons. Find fun and accessible ways to engage with the subject. Do not be too eager to achieve high results right away. Instead, take the time to build a solid foundation. The important thing is to combine hard knowledge with soft skills and, most importantly, to know your own limits. Learn to accept and get comfortable with simple things first. Once you have a strong foundation, you will find it easier to acquire complex knowledge. Lastly, I want to emphasize that learning is not just about acquiring knowledge, but also about training yourself through challenges and difficulties. If you can overcome these tough stages and maintain motivation, you will achieve success. And remember, no path is entirely easy. Every time you overcome a challenge, you move one step closer to your goal. So, the 3 methods I have shared in today's video are fundamental approaches to effective learning. The key is to be willing to learn, to prepare the right mindset and attitude to overcome any challenge. Always remember, success never comes easily, and neither does learning. Keep working hard, stay persistent, and you will achieve well-deserved results. Thank you so much for watching until the end of my video. I hope today's topic brings you valuable insights and satisfaction. And one more thing, don't hesitate to follow my channel and leave a comment below. For now, goodbye and see you in the next video.